So then we are back with more understandings from the time of the Second Tabernacle services, where we find the Aramaic English translation of the word. This translation comes from the original manuscripts of the prophets of the Israelic lineage. So then we can understand the time of the end as per Yeshua the prophet. We find layers of understanding of the spring feast, the autumn feast, and also the returning of the cities of the Mashiach laid waste for many centuries. As we read it in Yeshua the prophet, many of the sections of Yeshua the 61st chapter obviously explains what then the Hamashiach ben Yosef was then in the future going to be involved with as far as the spring feast was concerned. If you read Vaikra or then Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, you find then the holy feasts known as Moadim. And in these feasts then Yod-He Vav-He, he was then obviously always closer to his people every time they were coming around and participating in the holy feasts. Now the Hamashiach ben Yosef, when he came, he was the exact understanding of the prophets before him. There was absolutely no distinction from Yirmiyahu, Yeshayahu, Amos, and the Hamashiach ben Yosef, because they were obviously representing very important divine presence of Yod-He Vav-He. So then, if a person, while reading the time of the Mashiach, while reading the records of the spring feast, and if you decide on your own that the Hamashiach ben Yosef is more important than the other prophets, what you are saying is the representative, or then the person behind, then is not as important. So when we make reference of those representatives of Yod-He Vav-He, we must be very cautious, because we can't minimize the other prophets in any level. Some people, they say minor prophets or major prophets. There is no such situation. Those prophets, they were each of them extremely important, even though sometimes the content of what they wrote, and for sure there were many, they only had a piece of these that they were saved and then later on included in the writings. But there is no such a thing, minor prophets and major prophets, because either we can't elevate Yod-He Vav-He because he is already the highest, but we cannot lower him because he is already the highest. So then the definition on major and minor truly makes no sense. The best is simply saying this particular prophet during this period of time revealed this much information from the divine. This would be the proper way of describing what this particular representative did during his lifetime of service. So then the Hamashiach ben Yosef, when he came, obviously he was tested like the other prophets, and then at some point there was this saying, you should know the truth, and the truth shall put you at liberty. So then you can understand the instructions further. Some people think that the holy instructions is taught plainly, but truly they are not. There is a great deal of information that comes with time. So then, as we know the truth, So then, we put ourselves in liberty of studying the holy instructions. We surely do not want to be those people who are teaching the holy instructions wrongly, because it's extremely dangerous being in the midst of the divine work, and then we knowingly or unknowingly speaking the holy instructions in a way that is not truly building people up. So then, yesterday was explained as far as coming from the dead in a flesh. We know for sure there was absolutely no person that ever came back from the dead in flesh and bone. We are talking of a spiritual understanding, of reminding the people in a spiritual realm regarding this particular person. So then in Ecclesiastes you find a section there explaining when a person dies, then the flesh returns to the dust. It never returns. So then, when we read, and the truth shall put you at liberty so you can learn the instructions, don't think you're going to be put at liberty so you can sin any further. That's not what the instructions are saying. If we study YHWH, known as the Apostle Paul, he was very straightforward. Shall we then continue in sin? Of course not. But some people, their minds are screwed up, and they think because of the condition that was given, there is no space for improvement. In a lot of churches, they are truly a stumbling block, because they are not there to teach you. They are there to put you on a shelf saying, oh, that's the way you are. You know, the divine has made you this way. You're always going to sin. There is nothing you can do about it. Have you ever heard this bunch of jargon? When YHWH was explaining the holy instructions via his representatives, he was speaking very soberly. As much as we can, we should stay away from sin, and most principally, sexual sins are the utmost extreme, disgusting form of sexual situation that is absolutely dirty and truly an abomination, because sexual sins are the worst situations. And that's why then when YHWH told Yeshua, or then Moses, when they get the promised land, obviously Moses himself did not get there, but his companion did. And at the moment you get there, you have to clear away the land, because they were vicious, evil, and sexual sin was rampant. So from the sins other than murder, sexual sin is extremely dangerous. So when the Hamashiach ben Yosef was explaining, you shall know the truth. So when you know the truth, then you yourself, as you gather up this information, then you developed a tenacity of learning the instructions and then rejecting those sins who were so popular during your lifetime. So then, there is a section in YHWH, chapter number 4, stating, then the Hamashiach ben Yosef, Yeshua was not his name. Thus then, when people don't have the knowledge, they begin to give names, YHWH, saying Yeshua was his name. Yeshua is not a name. Yeshua is a function. So then, if we want to know the truth and not becoming a stumbling block, that's the whole thing. It's not only knowing the truth. We have to make sure when we give this information, we are in line with YHWH. Now, if we go to churches where then you go to those places and then the pastor's already given you some information that you already defeated, there is nothing we can do about it. You were born in sin, you're going to remain in sin, and you're going to sin until you die. These are the words of the infernal. That's why these pastors and teachers, they are the very bunch that Shaliach Shaul said they're going to concoct for themselves teachers, and they're going to teach based from their own itchy ears, and then deviating the people from the truth. So do you want to know the truth? Make sure you understand the original language. So Yeshua was not his name. Because YHWH, every time we say his name, we must understand the content. So then we understand his function. So Yeshua is a function of YHWH. So we are not talking about the person of the Hamashiach ben Yosef, we're talking about the divine. So this is the whole situation. People then, they go to church and they want to believe that there is a person that died on their behalf because of their sins. Ezekiel is very clear. In any condition, a person shall die for the sin of the other, neither father and children and vice versa. And who gave this order was YHWH, and the scripture stated he never changes. Now, for some reason, this New Testament, sometimes crazy situation, reverses the whole works. For some reason, then YHWH there was then for centuries faithful to his holy instructions, and then comes in the New Testament and then reverses. Oh, he was not truly saying that he never changed. Oh, you can believe this person that he died for your sin. And then along the way, oh, you are a person that always sins, and then you go to church defeated.
Verizon Wireless.